in a just cause the weak will beat the strong. Time, which sees all things, has found you out. Kindness gives birth to kindness. Those whose life is long still strive for gain, and for all mortals all things take second place to money. Children are the anchors of a mother's life. It is better not to live at all than to live disgraced. Who feels no ills, should, therefore, fear them, and when fortune smiles, be doubly cautious, lest destruction come remorseless on him, and he fall unpitied. Much wisdom often goes with fewer words. I would prefer even to fail with honor than win by cheating. Fortune never helps the faint-hearted. Opportunity is the best captain of all endeavor. I recommend bread, meat, vegetables, and beer. Who seeks shall find. Profit is sweet, even if it comes from deception. Ugly deeds are taught by ugly deeds. Chance never helps those who do not help themselves. Despair often breeds disease. A fearful man is always hearing things. If you were to offer a thirsty man all wisdom, you would not please him more than if you gave him a drink. Laziness is the mother of all evils. Not to be born is, past all prizing, best. But the power of destiny is something awesome, neither wealth, nor Ares, nor a tower, nor dark-hulled ships might escape it. Whoever lives among many evils just as I, how can dying not be a source of gain? How dangerous can false reasoning prove? All men make mistakes, but a good man yields when he knows his course is wrong, and repairs the evil. The only crime is pride. Not all things are to be discovered, many are better concealed. Success is dependent on effort. No wound is worse than counterfeited love. The truth is always the strongest argument. One word frees us of all the weight and pain of life, that word is love. Rather fail with honor than succeed by fraud. A wise man does not chatter with one whose mind is sick. If we always helped one another, no one would need luck. The most beautiful human deed is to be useful to others. What people believe prevails over the truth. Remember, there is no success without hard work. All a man's affairs become diseased when he wishes to cure evils by evils. You must remember that no one lives a life free from pain and suffering. Men of ill judgment ignore the good that lies within their hands, till they have lost it. The keenest sorrow is to recognize ourselves as the sole cause of all our adversities. Every man can see things far off but is blind to what is near. A lie never lives to be old. Ignorance is a tough evil to conquer. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Future cares have future cures, and we must mind today. The oaths of a woman I inscribe on water. You don't know what kind of day you will have, until evening. A man who takes pleasure in speaking continuously fools himself in thinking he is not unpleasant to those around him. The strongest iron, hardened in the fire, most often ends in scraps and shatterings. A wise doctor does not mutter incantations over a sore that needs the knife. Quick decisions are unsafe decisions. A man, though wise, should never be ashamed of learning more, and must unbend his mind. Let men be wise by instinct if they can, but when this fails, be wise by good advice. None love the messenger who brings bad news. There is no sense in crying over spilt milk. Why bewail what is done and cannot be recalled? Go then if you must, but remember, no matter how foolish your deeds, those who love you will love you still. Time alone reveals the just men, but you might discern a bad man in a single day. Do nothing secretly, for time sees and hears all things, and discloses all. Stubbornness and stupidity are twins. All concerns of men go wrong when they wish to cure evil with evil. What greater wound is there than a false friend? Foolishness is indeed the sister of wickedness. No treaty is ever an impediment to a cheat. What you can't enforce, do not command. Truth hates delay. Veritas audit mores. There is no success without hardship. Without labor nothing prospers. Wise thinkers prevail everywhere. The greatest griefs are those we cause ourselves. Remember, nothing succeeds without toil. I have no desire to suffer twice, in reality and then in retrospect. Kindness will always attract kindness. Always desire to learn something useful. Opinions have greater power than strength of hands. The happiest life is to be without thought. It is only great souls that know how much glory there is in being good. Not knowing anything is the sweetest life. Fortune is not on the side of the faint-hearted. It is terrible to speak well and be wrong. Our happiness depends on wisdom all the way. Things gained through unjust fraud are never secure. Unwanted favors gain no gratitude. The soul that has conceived one wickedness can nurse no good thereafter. Woman, to women silence is the best ornament. For whoever knows how to return a kindness he has received must be a friend above all price. Whom Jupiter would destroy he first drives mad. It is the task of a good man to help those in misfortune. Rash indeed is he who reckons on tomorrow, or happily on the days beyond it, for tomorrow is not, until today is past. No one longs to live more than someone growing old. Love, you mock us for your sport. Nobody likes the man who brings bad news. The golden eye of justice sees, and requites the unjust man. Each one of us must live the life God gives him, it cannot be shirked. Be a thrifty steward of thy goods. What fate can be worse than to know we have no one but ourselves to blame for our misfortunes? There is nothing more hateful than bad advice. The good befriend themselves. I cannot love a friend whose love is words. A man growing old becomes a child again. Stranger in a strange country. Show me the man who keeps his house in hand, he's fit for public authority. Men should pledge themselves to nothing, for reflection makes a liar of their resolution. When I do not understand, I like to say nothing. Grief teaches the steadiest minds to waver. The end excuses any evil. It is no weakness for the wisest man to learn when he is wrong. Nobody loves life like an old man. God will not punish the man who makes return for an injury. Best to live lightly, unthinkingly. You can kill a man, but you can't kill an idea. There is a point beyond which even justice becomes unjust. O child, may you be happier than your father, but in all other respects alike. And then you would not be bad. For this I see, that we, all we that live, are but vain shadows, unsubstantial dreams. No speech can stain what is noble by nature. Kindness is ever the begetter of kindness. Gentle time will heal our sorrows. A friend in word is never friend of mine. When trouble ends, even troubles please. Even the stout of heart shrink when they see the approach of death. No man loves life like him that's growing old. Knowledge must come through action. A state is not a state if it belongs to one man. Truly, to tell lies is not honorable, but when the truth entails tremendous ruin, to speak dishonorably is pardonable. We have only a little time to please the living, but all eternity to love the dead. A short saying often contains much wisdom. Death is not the greatest of evils, it is worse to want to die, and not be able to. A wise player ought to accept his throws and score them, not bewail his luck. If you are out of trouble, watch for danger. And when you live well, then consider the most your life, lest ruin take it unawares. Is anyone in all the world safe from unhappiness? Money, there's nothing in the world so demoralizing as money. And if you think my acts are foolishness, the foolishness may be in a fool's eye. The truth is what I cherish, and that's my strength. You should not consider a man's age but his acts. A word does not frighten the man who, in acting, feels no fear. Men of perverse opinion do not know the excellence of what is in their hands, till someone dash it from them. No honest man will argue on every side. Kindness begets kindness evermore. Don't you know that silence supports the accuser's charge? Surely, to think your own the only wisdom, and yours the only word, the only will, betrays a shallow spirit, an empty heart. The tyrant is a child of pride. If my body is enslaved, still my mind is free. All is discussed when one leaves his own nature and does things that misfit it. Opportunity has power over all things. Old age and the passage of time teach all things. Knowledge must come through action. You can have no test which is not fanciful, save by trial. If men live decently, it is because discipline saves their very lives for them. Even the bold will fly when they see death drawing in close enough to end their life. How terrible is wisdom, when it brings no profit to the man that's wise. A trifle is often pregnant with high importance, the prudent man neglects no circumstance. When I have tried and failed, I shall have failed. There is some pleasure even in words, when they bring forgetfulness of present miseries. Strike at a great man, and you will not miss. Whatever God has brought about is to be borne with courage. Nobody likes the bringer of bad news. Now let the weeping cease, let no one mourn again. These things are in the hands of God. He who throws away a friend is as bad as he who throws away his life. Better to die, and sleep the never-waking sleep, then linger on and dare to live when the soul's life is gone. Love is like ice in the hands of children. To me no profitable speech sounds ill. War never takes a wicked man by chance, the good man always. To me so deep a silence portends some dread event, a clamorous sorrow wastes itself in sound. I was not born to share the hate, but love. Brave hearts do not back down, back off. Dark, dark. The horror of darkness, like a shroud, wraps me and bears me on through mist and cloud. In season, all is good. To never have been born may be the greatest boon of all. Thoughts are mightier than strength of hand. It is hope that maintains most of mankind. Though a man be wise, it is no shame for him to live and learn. Success, remember, is the reward of toil. As sight is in the eye, so is the mind in the soul. Ignorant men do not know what good they hold in their hands until they've flung it away. Hide nothing, for time, which sees all and hears all, exposes all. You win the victory when you yield to friends. Fortune cannot aid those who do nothing. Sleep's the only medicine that gives ease. A mind at peace does not engender wars. The gods plant reason in mankind, of all good gifts the highest. For kindness begets kindness evermore, but he from whose mind fades the memory of benefits, noble is he no more. If you try to cure evil with evil, you will add more pain to your fate. One who knows how to show and to accept kindness will be a friend better than any possession. They are not wise, then, who stand forth to buffet against love, for love rules the gods as he will, and me. Time is the only test of honest men, one day is space enough to know a rogue. Heaven never helps the man who will not help himself. To the person who is afraid, everything rustles. If one begins all deeds well, it is likely that they will end well too. If I am Sophocles, I am not mad, and if I am mad, I am not Sophocles. Not even Ares battles against necessity. Heaven ne'er helps the men who will not act. It is best not to have been born at all, but, if born, as quickly as possible to return whence one came. Zeus detests above all the boasts of a proud tongue. The Greeks could be a crushing bore. I recommend dressing everyone in combat fatigues or S&M gear. Whenever the deity contrives misfortunes for a man, he first harms their understanding. Now I see that going out into the testing ground of men, it is the tongue and not the deed that wins the day. It is God's giving if we laugh or weep. But this is a true saying among men, the gifts of enemies are no gifts and profitless. Of all human ills, greatest is fortune's wayward tyranny. You would rouse to anger a heart of stone. Whoever thinks his friend more important than his country, I rate him nowhere. To revive sorrow is cruel. Gratitude to gratitude always gives birth. A broad-backed ox can be driven straight on his road even by a small goad. Fate has terrible power. You cannot escape it by wealth or war. No fort will keep it out, no ships outrun it. No oath can be too binding for a lover. From suffering that has been decreed no man will ever find escape. Men whose wit has been mother of villainy once have learned from it to be evil in all things. Even a poor man can receive honors. Thou shalt not ration justice. And if my present deeds are foolish in thy sight, it may be that a foolish judge arraigns my folly. What men have seen they know, but what shall come hereafter no man before the event can see, nor what end waits for him. Death is not the worst evil, but rather when we wish to die and cannot. There is no happiness where there is no wisdom. Rather throw away that which is dearest to you, your own life, than turn away a good friend. Evil gains work their punishment. What greater ornament to a son than a father's glory, or to a father than a son's honorable conduct? One's own escape from troubles makes one glad, but bringing friends to trouble is hard grief. Laws can never be enforced unless fear supports them. As they say of the blind, sounds are the things I see. The wise form right judgment of the present from what is past. Whoever grows angry amid troubles applies a drug worse than the disease and is a physician unskilled about misfortunes. It is a painful thing to look at your own trouble and know that you yourself and no one else has made it. What house, bloated with luxury, ever became prosperous without a woman's excellence? Count no mortal fortunate till he has departed this life free from pain. Wisdom is the most important part of happiness. If it were possible to heal sorrow by weeping and to raise the dead with tears, gold were less prized than grief. It can be no dishonor to learn from others when they speak good sense. I write a woman's oaths in water. Much speech is one thing, well-timed speech is another. The gods love those of ordered soul. Many are the wonders of the world, and none so wonderful as men. If you are out of trouble, watch for danger. A fool cannot be an actor, though an actor may act a fool's part. Man is not constituted to take pleasure in the same things always. It's impossible to speak what it is not noble to do. We must wait until the evening to see how splendid the day had been. What men have seen they know. Many are the things that man seeing must understand. Not seeing, how shall he know what lies in the hand of time to come? What is to be taught I learn, what is to be discovered I seek, what is to be prayed for I sought from the gods. When you can prove me wrong, then call me blind. It is the merit of a general to impart good news, and to conceal the truth. To many men much wandering hope comes as a boon, but to many others it is the deception of vain desires. An enemy's gift is ruinous and no gift. The joy that comes past hope and beyond expectation is like no other pleasure in extent. You clearly hate to yield, but you will regret it when your anger has passed. Such natures are justly the hardest for themselves to bear. Silence gives the proper grace to women. Trouble brings trouble upon trouble. Enemies' gifts are no gifts and do no good. To be doing good deeds is man's most glorious task. Look how men live, always precariously balanced between good and bad fortune. The eyes of men love to pluck the blossoms from the faded flowers they turn away. Desire looks clear from the eyes of a lovely bride, power as strong as the founded world. The man from whom the joys of life have departed is living no more, but should be counted with the dead. Men's minds are given to change in hate and friendship. How dreadful it is when the right judge judges wrong. There is no greater evil than anarchy. Troubles hurt the most when they prove self-inflicted. Numberless are the world's wonders, but none more wonderful than man. A cunning fellow is man, inventive beyond all expectation. He reaches sometimes evil and sometimes good. Time is a kindly God. How sweet for those faring badly to forget their misfortunes even for a short time. It was my care to make my life illustrious not by words more than by deeds. Truth is always straightforward. To the man who is afraid everything rustles. There is no such thing as the old age of the wise. No one who errs unwillingly is evil. Isn't it the sweetest mockery to mock our enemies? And if my present actions strike you as foolish, let's just say I've been accused of folly by a fool. I was born to join in love, not hate, that is my nature. Success is the reward for toil. God's dice always have a lucky roll. The sleep of a sick man has keen eyes. It is a sleep unsleeping. If they are just, they are better than clever. Reverence does not die with mortals, nor does it perish whether they live or die. There is no witness so terrible, no accuser so powerful as conscience which dwells within us. Sleep, ignorant of pain, sleep, ignorant of grief, may you come to us blowing softly, kindly, kindly come King. Having advanced to the limit of boldness, child, you have stumbled against the lofty pedestal of justice. To live without evil belongs only to the gods. Better not to exist than live basely. Afterthought makes the first resolve a liar. Hope has often caused the love of gain to ruin men. Whoever has a keen eye for profits is blind in relation to his craft. To throw away an honest friend is, as it were, to throw your life away. A man who deals in fairness with his own, he can make manifest justice in the state. There are times when even justice brings harm with it. Many the wonders but nothing walks stranger than man. I see that all of us who live are nothing but images or insubstantial shadow. Not to be born surpasses thought and speech. The second best is to have seen the light and then go back quickly whence we came. Deem no man happy until he passes the edifies life without suffering grief. There is no greater evil for men than the constraint of fortune. O death, death, why do you never come to me thus summoned always day by day? Of no mortal say, that man is happy, till vexed by no grievous ill he pass life's goal. Do not grieve yourself too much for those you hate, nor yet forget them utterly. To know that all is well, even if late will come to know it, is at least some gain. Kindness it is that brings forth kindness always. If to some my tale seems foolishness, I am content that such could count me fool. Every wind is fair when we are flying from misfortune. It is best to live however one can be. To those who err in judgment, not in will, anger is gentle. It made our hair stand up in panic fear. The rewards of virtue alone abide secure. To err from the right path is common to mankind. For the dead there are no more toils. If I am young, then you should look not to age but to deeds. In darkness one may be ashamed of what one does, without the shame of disgrace. Shame brings no advantage in misfortunes, for silence, of the accused, is the ally of the speaker. It is not righteousness to outrage. Whoever gets up and comes to grips with love like a boxer is a fool. Often have brief words laid men low and then raise them up. For the gods, though slow to see well, whenever a man casting aside worship turns folly. How terrible it is to have wisdom when it does not benefit those who have it. For most men friendship is a faithless harbor. Reason is God's crowning gift to men. In a just cause it is right to be confident. How dreadful knowledge of the truth can be when there's no help in truth. If you have done terrible things, you must endure terrible things, for thus the sacred light of injustice shines bright. True, as unwisdom is the worst of ills. For even bold natures flee, whenever they see Hades close to life. You cannot know a man's life before the man has died, then only can you call it good or bad. War loves to seek its victims in the young. Kids are anchors of mother's life. Wisdom is a dreadful thing when it brings no knowledge to its possessor. To him who is afraid, everything rustles. Those griefs smart most which are seen to be of our own choice. Silence is an ornament for women. There is a time when even justice brings harm. Trust dies but mistrust blossoms. Let a man nobly live or nobly die. The curse of ignorance is that man without being good or evil is nevertheless satisfied with himself. More men come to doom through dirty prophets than are kept by them. It's terrible when the one who does the judging judges things all wrong. When people fall in deep distress, their native sense departs. Great time makes all things dim. The truth is ever best. Alas, how quickly the gratitude owed to the dead flows off, how quick to be proved a deceiver. It is always fair sailing when you escape evil. Bear up, my child, bear up. Zeus who oversees and directs all things is still mighty in heaven. Ill-gotten gains work evil. The dice of Zeus always fall luckily. Obedience to authority saves many skins. To give birth is a fearsome thing. There is no hating the child one has born even when injured by it. Goodbye to the sun that shines for me no longer. A day lays low and lifts up again all human things. Man's worst ill is stubbornness of heart. A prudent mind can see room for misgiving, lest he who prospers should one day suffer reverse. A human being is only breath and shadow. A man is nothing but breath and shadow. It has been hard, I know, my daughters, but one word alone wipes out all of the hardships: love. For to cast away a virtuous friend, I call as bad as to cast away one's own life, which one loves best. When an oath is taken, the mind is more attentive, for it guards against two things, the reproach of friends and offense against the gods. No lie ever reaches old age. Not even old age knows how to love death. It becomes one, while exempt from woes, to look to the dangers. Pardon, and keep silent, for what is shameful for women must be concealed among women. One must obey the men whom the city sets up in power in small things and in justice and in its opposite. Give me a life wherever there is an opportunity to live, and better life than was my father's. To women silence gives their proper grace. When men have killed joy, I do not believe they still live. Evil counsel travels fast. To live with glory, or with glory die, this is the brave man's part.